Okay, the second video in the educational series that we're going to do is all about your journey here at Iceni. So from when you become a member, throughout your challenge period, and then into what it looks like being a member at Iceni, and then what it looks like going forward, and sort of mapping out what that's going to look like for you. So obviously everyone starts with that first 30 days. What we don't sell that is a big like transformation program. I don't believe in that. You're not going to transform your whole world and life, and as a result your body composition monumentally within 30 days. What you need to be doing in that first 30 days is focus on a few things. It's about learning the basics in the PT sessions. It's getting used to, for a lot of you, this might be the first time you've done some good quality strength training consistently for 30 days. Like turning up 3 days a week, doing some good quality stuff. It's all right going to the gym, you might have been to the gym before, but actually doing some proper strength training with where you're doing some big compound lifts rather than just like going to the gym and going on the treadmill, for example, is going to be a big sort of shift for you, and you need to give your body and everything time to learn those movements, your tissues time to adapt and get used to doing those movements, and just getting yourself into putting the foundational work in basically to then set yourself for that long-term success. For some of you coming into and working with us for the first time and you've got a good training history, you might have had PT in the past. What this might be is just like mixing up your training, actually doing some, you might have had PT, but it might have been once a week, but actually doing some good quality strength training 3 days a week and actually getting a push during that time. Might be the first time you've had that, and just making sure that you're doing one thing, you're doing everything properly, you're getting the most out of every session, and I don't mean that as burning calories, and just being consistent with your training for the first time. Big part of that is you might pick up some injuries, and when I say injuries I mean just like little aches and pains, and just making sure that you're going through that process of allowing your body time to heal, get used to doing these exercises, because that's all you're doing. You're like just waking everything up. You might feel a little bit tight, you are going to feel sore, and just giving your body time to adapt and adjust over that period of time. So that's kind of what the first 30 days is all about. For some of you, we then start to talk about nutrition and getting some fundamentals in place there. That might be in terms of tracking your food, giving you some targets and goals around that. Obviously, we use the InBody to sort of set your calories and your goals and yeah, basically give you some numbers to hit. And obviously then you can use things like MyFitnessPal to do that. You might choose to use a meal prep service to kind of take the thinking out of it, or you might just focus on like conscious eating, right? Just making sure that you're doing making sure you're making better choices when you're presented with like a bad option. For example, if you're out and you caught short and you haven't got lunch with you, making sure that you're getting, for example, a salad bowl with some protein, maybe some fruit and what have you, and just making sure you're making a better choice rather than just going for a meal deal, can of Coke, bag of crisps, sandwich with nothing in it, sort of deal. So that's really what we want to focus on that first 30 days, is just building the consistency into your routine of coming into the gym 2-3 times a week, getting into some cardio sessions as well if you feel comfortable doing that, and just really setting yourself up for long-term success. And that's really what the first 30 days. Most of you will start to feel better by that time just because you've been coming in consistently. Your energy levels will start to improve. You might find you're sleeping better, but don't be shocked if you don't see a huge shift in that 30 days on the InBody, right? That's not really what we're trying to focus on. Then going forward after that 30 days, if you want to continue with us as a member, then amazing. But across that, again, that first sort of 90 days, it's about that consistency. Then we can start to layer in things like your nutrition, and we can start to, like, if we need some calorie targets, we need some things to hit, and just checking in with you and making sure that you're doing the right things around your nutrition is going to be important there, right? What we really want to put the onus on is this is your journey. You have to take ownership of it. You are responsible for it. We cannot control what you do outside the gym. The amount of times that we get people coming in and going, oh, I'm training 3 times a week, but I'm just not losing weight. And we go, show me your food diary. And they've not been doing the work outside the gym, but they're getting frustrated with it, and they get frustrated at us, right? But I can't control what you do outside these 4 walls. I can give you guidance, I can give you information, I can say, right, do this, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you with what you do and what you put into your body outside of here, right? Also, your steps are going to play a massive part. You can't just come into the gym 3 times a week and expect to lose weight. You're not going to be burning super massive amounts of calories during that time, right? So then that's why we start to layer some stuff up. In the sessions, you'll start to work on a bit of technical mastery, learning the movements, really starting to dial those in and building up the intensity. You might start to really notice your strength start to improve during this time. Because you've learned how to do those movements now properly, and then we can start to push the intensity as your technique starts to build. Then we want to start building some autonomy after this. So once we've kind of passed that 90 days, right, at this point, hopefully, we don't need to tell you what a squat is at this point, right? We should be able to go, right, Gemma, I want you to grab that dumbbell and I want you to do 15 squats. Nice and low, nice controlled down, stand up, and give yourself a bit of rest in between. Right? At that point, the value goes away from me telling you what to do or showing you what to do every single time, and it shifts into having a structured program that you're following. You're not just going into the gym and making it up, where you might be doing things wrong. Also, in the session that I took last night, members that have been with us for a long period of time, and that's in past the 6 sort of month mark, and we were still giving them cues to improve their technique. Because what works to begin with, we triage things. We might look at you and go, right, we need to work on this. This is the biggest risk point for you in that movement. For example, the deadlift. We want to make sure the back is sitting in a nice straight position. We want to make sure that the bar is traveling in a nice straight line. But as you start to get stronger, those things, they're kind of taken care of, and then your technique might break down in other areas, in which case then we start to give you different drills compared to what we gave you at the start, because that wasn't relevant at that point, right? So then as you start to get stronger, you're still going to need your form correcting. You're still going to need a good structure around your program. You're still going to need someone there to push you, or give you the confidence to say that, okay, you probably could have lifted a little bit extra on those few reps. Why don't we try that? And give you the confidence to keep building yourself up, and one pushing you, making sure that then those exercises you might be doing a deadlift with a kettlebell to begin with. Now we might build things up to doing deadlifts on blocks with a barbell, and then as you get stronger, we then might take the blocks away, right? But it's making sure that you're guided throughout that process and making sure that you're doing the right things at the right time for you. One thing I want to touch on in this video is like the behavioral change curve. So what we see a lot of is you have that sort of like beginner motivation. You have that sort of uplift, and then what you start to realize is that results don't just come overnight, and this is all part of the process. And you have like a dip, and then you start to bargain with yourself, and you start to think, right, I was gonna like knock drinking on the head, or I was gonna really track my calories, but it's hard work. Maybe I'll just track my calories during the week, or I'll just do it Monday to Thursday, and then I'll kind of wing it on the weekends. And I'll still have those things, but then you start to then get frustrated with the fact that you're not going to see the results that you want to see. So the harder work you can do on that downside, the bigger the uplift on the way up. That's when we really see the good results. Those are kind of start, and then they don't quite fully go for it, and everything is fine. Right? Your goals are yours, and I'm no one to tell you that this is what perfect should look like to you. Don't know how that would fit in around your life. Is it worth the sacrifice of not going out for dinner with your kids? For a lot of people, the answer to that question might be no. But just using that as an example, having a couple of beers on the weekend with your mates might be more important to you than your body fat percentage being below 10, right? As an example, right? And that's absolutely fine. What this should be, it should fit into your life. It should allow you to be fit and healthy at the level that you want to be, and also with the right level of like mental health as well, right? There's no point being miserable for the sake of being lean, right? And that's something I really believe in, and that's something I talk to a lot of people about during their first consultation. Like, what the in-body tells you should look like, or your body composition should be, does not equal happiness. You might feel better about yourself at that point, but if you your relationships break down and you're not doing the things you want and you're not having fun, then really what is the point? So all I'm trying to really highlight with that is, like, we start off with these like big ambitions, and then we actually realize how much hard work it's going to take to get there, what the sacrifices that we're going to have to do, what are we giving up away from the gym so that we're here doing the hard work in the gym, what are we sacrificing socially so that we're making sure that we're doing the right things with our nutrition, to be able to get to the goals that you set out and ambitions you had to start with, right? And it's all part of that, like how far down do you want to go to get to where you want, right? And it might come in, and it looks more like this. It goes up and down. It might take a year for you to really get to that point where you then see the upside, but it's all part of the journey. It's all part of it, and it's about having fun at the end of the day, right? So that's really your journey at Iceni. It's about setting that fundamentals out to start with, understanding that the onus is on you in terms of the nutrition. We can give you all the information in the world, but you have to put the work in, and we'll guide you through it. We'll give you all the information and support that you need within the gym. And it's about enjoying your fitness and making this a part of your lifestyle so that you can be as fit and as healthy and as strong outside these four walls as you possibly can be in the long term.